So next we'll move on to the static route. Static means fixed. So static routing is a process in which we have to manually add routes in the routing table. You will manually define a path, and AD value of static route is 1. Now, what are the advantages? Advantage is, see, if you are configuring a static route, your router doesn't have to calculate anything. It will just follow whatever path you have configured. So if your router doesn't have to calculate anything, means router will not use CPU, right? So there will be no routing overhead for the routing CPU. Okay, and even the cheaper routers can do the routing. Okay, in case of static. Second, it adds security because only admin can allow routing to particular networks only. In case of static routes, your admin defines that, okay, this is the network and how you are going to reach it. So if the admin is not defining a route for a particular network, that means your router will not communicate with that network. Okay, your router will communicate only with the networks for which the admin has defined the routes. Okay, if you say, okay, you go there and this is the path, router will go. If you do not define, router will not go. That's it. Okay. And since there is no extra packet exchange between the routers, so there will be less bandwidth uses between the routers. Because two routers, they know a fixed path, so they do not have to communicate that how to reach, how to not reach. Okay, they will not share any information. So there will be less bandwidth uses. These are all the advantages. But there is a big disadvantage also. What is the big disadvantage? If you are considering a large network, let's say you work in a company, hundreds of routers are there. Okay. And as of now, just consider that, okay, those 100 routers are just connected in series like this, one after one. Okay. So this is the first router, second router, third router, and like this. This is the last 100 router. So 100 router means at least you can consider 100 networks, right? Okay. Now see, this router, if you want to configure static route, for each and every route, we have to configure the route. I mean, for each and every network, we have to configure the route. Okay. So this one network is connected, but to this network, router 1 is unknown. So we will have to configure a path. That means, can I say approx 99 routes I will have to configure? If I discuss about this router, 1 and 2 are directly connected. Remaining 98, I will have to configure. 98, again 98, again 98, and here at the last again 99. Can you imagine how much work I have to do? Okay, how much work I have to do to reach each and every destination. So if it is a large network, it is a hectic task for the administrator to manually add routes for the network in the routing table. Okay, you can imagine you have to go and configure around, let's say, 98 routes 100 times. 9,800 routes you'll have to configure. Okay, so you can imagine how much time it is going to take and how much brain power it is going to take. Okay, so it's an hectic task. Now let's say somehow you have configured a route. Now somewhere one network got down. Now backup path for each and every router you'll have to configure manually again. Okay, so for a large network, this is a hectic task. We do not prefer static routing when we have more than 2-3 routers. No, we do not go with the static routing. Okay, we have 2 routers, we have 3 routers. Okay, we go with the static, but more than that, we generally prefer dynamic only. Okay, then the admin should have good knowledge of the topology, how you will be able to define the path. When you know that, okay, this router is connected to this router, these all the IP addresses that are configured, then only you can configure static routing. And if a new admin is coming, you are going to a company, 100 routers are already there connected, you don't know how they are connected. And now you are asked to do the routing. Will you be able to do? No. So what you have to do? You have to just go and change the topology. You will have to manually redesign the topology according to you, assign the IP addresses, then perform the routing, then only you will have the knowledge of the topology. Okay. So for big networks, this is a hectic task. So in the large networks, we never prefer static routes. Okay. Then configuration. Configuration is easy. IP route. This is the command. Then you give which network you want to reach. The destination network, the subnet mask for destination network, and then through which router you are going to reach. Next one. Okay. Now see here. let's create a topology. Okay, let's say here we want to use 192.168. .0/24, and this side we will add some loopbacks like 10.1.1.0 /24, and then let's say 11.20. Okay, let's say these are the networks. Loopbacks I'm going to configure here. Okay, so router 1 will know about this network, but will be unknown for these networks. Okay. Okay. On the router 1, we'll configure all IPs .1. That means here it will be, we'll configure 192.168.12.1, and this side will configure 12.2. Okay, so let's go and do the routing. First of all, we'll assign the IP addresses. Okay, tell me. Go to the interface. Which interface? Z0/0. What will be the IP address? 12.1. Subnet mask. Then no shutdown, because this is a physical interface. Done. Okay. Go to the router 2. No. Enable. Configure terminal. Interface. Z0/0. Then again IP address 192.168.12.2.255. Then no shut. Done. Now 3 loopback interfaces I need to add. So let's say interface loopback 1, IP address 10.1.1.2. Okay, we will always keep this notation that okay, router 1 all IPs .1, router 2 all IPs .2. Okay, like
Sir, connecting router 1 and router 2, the network should be same.
yes.
The network should
On these 2 interfaces, the network should be same. Okay. Then interface loopback 2, and IP will be 20. Loopback 3, IP will be 30. Done. All IPs assigned. Let's check. Show IP interface. Okay. So I have Z0/0. Loopbacks are having the IPs, and they are okay. So for R2, if I check, all networks are directly connected. So R2 should be able to reach all the networks. Why? Because if I check the routing table, show IP route. So it is able to reach the 10 network, able to reach 20, able to reach 30, able to reach 12. If your routing table is having a route, your router will be able to reach. If it doesn't have a route, it will not be able to reach. Okay. Now you're seeing some codes here. C, L. Okay. C stands for connect. That means this particular network is directly connected. L means local. That means this is the local IP you have configured from this network. So every time with the C, you will always have a L. Okay. Every time with the C, you will have a L. That means for this directly connected network, this is the local IP. Is that clear? Similarly, in the 20 network, we have configured 21.12. In the 30 network, we have configured 31.12. And in the 12.0, we have configured 12.2. This is clear. So if I try to ping, I already have the routes in the routing table, so I should be able to ping 10.1.1.2. I'm able to reach 20, able to reach 30, able to reach, then 12.2. What if I try to ping 12.1? Will I be able to reach? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If you see here, if I want to reach this network /24, I will forward the packet via gigabit Ethernet. And since your router one also knows about the same network, they will have the communication. Okay, because it has a route for it. It has a route for 12.0 network. So we will have the communication. Okay. See? This is clear. Now let's check about R1. If I go on R1, if I check the routing table, to how many networks it can reach? Only one network, that is 12.0. Okay. That means if I try to ping 192.168.12.2, I should be able to ping. Because this network, I have a route in my routing table. But do I have a route for 10 network? No. Let's try to ping. Ah, 10, not 10.0.0.2, 10.1.1.2. So I will not be able to reach. Why? Because I do not have a route. I do not have a route in my routing table. So I need to manually add a route. Okay. So how we are going to manually add a route? Go to the global configuration mode. You'll say IP route. Then you have to give the destination network. So to which network you want to reach? We want to reach to the 10 network. So 10.1.1.0/24. This is the network and mask we want to reach. So just give this network 10.1.1.0. Then what was the mask for this network? 24. This is the mask. Now, how you are going to reach? So if you see here, R1 wants to reach this network, right? So if R1 wants to reach this network, R1 will be forwarding the packets in this direction. In this direction, we are saying what is the next thing we want to check? Next hop. Next hop means next router. Who is the next router? R2. And for R2, what is the IP this side? 12.2. So your next hop will be 12.2. Okay. So here it will be 192.168.12.2. Clear? Let's check. Do show IP route. I have a route here with the code S. S stands for static. Okay. And what this route is saying, that if you want to reach 10.1.1.0/24, you can reach via 12.2. Right? You can reach via 12.2. And what you see here, this one is the AD value. Yes. In this bracket, there will be two information. The first is the AD value and second is known as the metric. Okay. So since your static route is a manual route, so the metric will always be 0. Okay. And by default, this AD value will be 1. So that clear? Now, if I have a route, I should be able to ping 10.1.1.2. And I have the connectivity. But do I have the connectivity with 21.1.2?
No.
No. Why? Because no route in the routing table. Right? So now what we can do? We can add one more route. Let's add one more route. So the command will be IP route 20.1.1.0 destination network subnet masks What will be the next hop if you see here? Why? Because R1 will again send this side, and this side the next router IP is again 12.2. So you'll say 192.168.12.2. Hit enter, check again, do show IP route. Again, we have one more route for 20 via 12.2, and this side, this time we should be able to ping. Clear? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these routes because we know how to configure static routes. Okay. How to remove? No. Both routes removed. Check. Done. So means I should not be able to ping now. Not able to ping. This time we will go add a default route. One route we will add, and your router will be able to communicate with 10 also, 20 also, 30 also. Okay. So how to add default route? So first of all, let's go through the slide. AD we have already seen. Default route. This is the method where the router is configured to send all the packets toward the next router, your next hop. Okay. You'll send all the traffic to your next hop. Then it doesn't matter to which network the packet belongs. It is forwarded out to the router, which is configured for default routing. Means you will configure a next hop, and you don't care from where the packet is coming, where the packet is going. You will just forward it to the next router. That's it. It is generally used with the stub router. What is a stub router? That has only one path to reach all the destination. Okay. If you see here, for R1, whether it wants to reach 10, 20, or 30, only one path is there. Right. So that's why this will be called as stub router. Okay. And we will forward all the path to R2. So how do we define a default route? So if you see in the destination network and in the next hop, I mean, in the destination network, in the subnet mask, all zeros means any network, any mask. If you want to go to any network, any mask, just forward the packets to the next one. Okay. So if I want to configure it here, I will say IP route, want to go to any network, any mask. What will be my next hop? 12.2, because for reaching 10, 20, 30, I need to forward the packets this side only, and this side my next hop router IP address is 12.2. So I will say 192.168.12.2. Now if you see this route, show IP route. See here, having S but also having a star. S means static, star means candidate default. So this is a default static route. Again, a special case of static routing only. What it is saying, want to reach any network, any mask, go via 12.2. Okay. And you see what is the AD value here? 1. That means same as static one. Okay. So I do not have a specific route for 10, 20, or 30. But still I will be able to reach. If I say ping 10.1.1.2, able to reach. If I say 20, able to reach. If I say 30, able to reach. Do I have 40? No. So it will show you undeliverable. Okay. Now see. If I go to the R2 and let's say I'll add the 40, interface loopback 4, IP address 40.1.1.2. See, I just added the interface on the R2, right? Now check. Because of default, we are able to communicate. Is that clear?